Hello and welcome back to Voice Behind the Case, a space where we slow down, look deeper, and tell the full stories behind tragedies that deserve more than a headline. Before we begin, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing helps keep these stories alive. To those of you who have already subscribed, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Let us begin today's story. Today we're going to talk about a story that shocked a community in Hammanskraal. It is the story of a little boy named Obakeng Minyuku, whose life was cut tragically short. We will look at what happened, the people involved, and the impact it had on his family and community. Obakeng Minyuku was only 5 years old, a lively and curious child who loved playing outside with his friends. He lived in Chris Hani, Themba in Hammanskraal, where neighbors knew each other and children often played in the streets. His family described him as bright, energetic, and full of laughter, a little boy who was always asking questions and exploring the world around him. He had recently started grade R and was excited about learning new things at school. On the afternoon of the 24th of January 2026, he was playing outside as usual, surrounded by other children and the familiar sights and sounds of his neighborhood. It was a typical Saturday, one filled with the simple joys of childhood and the safety of home. Nobody could have imagined that the day would end in tragedy. While Obakeng played, a single gunshot rang out unexpectedly, shattering the quiet of the street. At first, some of the children thought it was fireworks, but the fear and panic quickly spread as they realized the seriousness of what had happened. The bullet struck Obakeng under his right armpit, and he fell immediately. Neighbors and family members rushed to his aid, calling for help and trying to understand how such a thing could happen in their community. The cries of children and adults filled the air, replacing the laughter that had filled the streets moments earlier. He was taken as quickly as possible to the Themba clinic, where medical staff tried desperately to save him. Tragically, Obakeng was pronounced dead on arrival, and the community was left in shock and disbelief. Police quickly launched an investigation into the shooting, and attention soon focused on a neighbor, 38-year-old Tselane Lebogang Mautla. Reports indicated that she had been handling her legally licensed firearm in her yard when the gun accidentally discharged. Investigators suggested that the bullet traveled from her property into the street, striking Obakeng while he was playing with other children. The firearm had been obtained only days before the tragic incident, raising questions about how firearms were being handled and stored. The fact that a child could be killed so suddenly in a familiar, supposedly safe space shocked the community. The residents struggled to process that someone they knew lived so close to the tragedy. This incident would leave lasting scars on both Obakeng's family and the people of Hammanskraal. Mautla was arrested and charged with murder, and her case immediately drew widespread attention. In South African law, murder can include acts done intentionally or with reckless disregard for human life, so the court would need to examine exactly what happened. The legal process would determine whether negligence or intentional actions caused Obakeng's death. Meanwhile, the community was left grappling with fear and anger, trying to understand how something so devastating could happen so close to home. Conversations about firearm safety and responsible ownership began to spread through Hammanskraal. People realized that even licensed weapons, when mishandled, could lead to irreversible consequences. This case became a painful example of the need for strict adherence to safety rules and vigilance when it comes to guns. During bail proceedings, details about the firearm and its recent licensing came to light, raising even more questions for residents. The court imposed strict conditions for bail, including relocation, regular check-ins with the police, and a prohibition on firearm possession. While legal proceedings continued, Obakeng's family faced the unimaginable pain of losing a 5-year-old child. They began planning his funeral, gathering to mourn and remember him in the only way they could. Each step of the investigation and court process was a reminder of the suddenness and senselessness of his death. The community rallied around the family, sharing in their grief and calling for justice. The tragedy served as a wake-up call to everyone in the neighborhood about the dangers of firearms. At Obakeng's funeral, relatives, friends, and teachers came together to honor his memory and say their final goodbyes. They remembered him as a joyful child, full of curiosity and energy, whose life had been full of potential that would now never be realized. His small coffin was a stark and painful symbol of how fragile life can be, especially for children. Parents in the area were left reconsidering the safety of their own homes and streets. The incident highlighted the need for communities to be vigilant and protective of the youngest and most vulnerable. It also reminded everyone that even ordinary days could take a tragic turn in an instant. For Obakeng's family, this was a loss they would carry for the rest of their lives. Obakeng was not just a news story. He was a son, a learner, and a friend. His life, though brief, held immense value to his family and the people around him. Every laugh, question, and game he played left memories that would never fade. The emotional toll on his family was profound, and no legal process could erase the pain of his absence. As the court continued to examine the details of the shooting, the community watched and waited, hoping for justice to be served. The absence left by a 5-year-old child is impossible to fill, and the grieving process is long and complex. Obakeng's life serves as a stark reminder of how precious and fragile every moment with a child truly is. Thank you for watching Voice Behind the Case. If you found this episode informative, please comment your thoughts below, share this video, and subscribe so we can continue telling the stories that matter. Until next time, stay informed, stay aware, and remember, behind every case, there are human lives forever changed.
Yes, just as agreed between the state and the defense, this matter is remanded in custody for you to bring a formal bail application until the 4th day of February 2026.
Okay, ka lebitso ke Mapula Minyuku, ke mamhola Obakeng Minyuku a thuntshitsweng. Ho bolela nna nnete, a ke feel alright ka hore ba mmusa ka di-focus. We don't know hore o tlo irahalang. So a re itse re tla bona ka tsona di-focus tseo ha tla hore o irahalang. Mara fela family no, a re sharp, re tla ba sharp until re bona hore ka di-phone ho tweng. But nna ho ya ka nna a kry-a busy, I don't think hore ke tlo e thabela. E sene e irahetse hona moreneng mo teng. E sene e irahetse mo teng. Re tshwara ha bohloko thata. re nkgotla re tsaya nako le gore re lebale rena go ya ka rena after this molao a ebe ona o tseyang karolo Obakeng abamaziyo abazange bambona abazange bambona abazange bambona abazange bambona abazange bambona Obakeng abamaziyo abazange bambona Obakeng abamaziyo abazange bambona